Hey guys, it's Katie here. I am just going to break down the commission structure for SeneGence. I'm going to let you know how you can earn money and what it takes and what you want to do to earn a lot of money. So, SeneGence is awesome. Their commission structure, I have never seen anything like it. We are earning up to 30% on some parts of our downline, which is insane. We make a lot of money off those girls that we first sponsor. And for your first line, there's no requirements on how big it has to be to earn from them, which is awesome because if you're focusing on training your first line, then you're going to start making a lot of money. And if they do the same, then you're really going to start earning a lot of money. So there's two ways to earn money through SeneGence. There's commission and there's I didn't erase that backwards 5 when I try to do it backwards. There's GSV, which is group sales volume. This is a bonus. This is where the big money is. But first I'm going to talk to you about commission. So commission is when you, doesn't matter how many downline you have, you're always going to make commission on every single person, no matter if they're on your first or fifth line, as long as you place a 100 PV order. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. And then let me hurry and turn this around so I can write on it. I'm going to tell you what you're going to earn off each line. So on your first line, you're earning 10%. Your second line is 20%. Your third line is 30%. And your fourth and fifth lines are 5%. So as you can see, that does add up a lot. You've got 10%, 20, 30, 5, and 5. Now this is off their first 100 PV. So in other words, another way you can say is you're going to earn every person on your downline that places an order. Their first 100 PV, you're going to make 10% off the girls you personally sponsor, 20% off of whoever they sponsor, which is your second line, and so on. Your third line is 30%, fourth line is 5%, and fifth line is 5% as well. So this does add up really fast. It's nice because there's no requirements for how big or wide these lines have to be. You're always going to earn this. As you can imagine, these $30 ones really start to add up as you grow your team really wide. And so it's a lot of fun to see these numbers line up. Now remember, to earn this commission, you have to place 100 PV. If you are expecting your girls to work in order, then you need to work as well. So let me talk to you about the more complicated version, and that is the group sales volume bonus. So your first line is exempt on this, okay? So don't think about your first line. I'm going to talk about requirements on how wide each line has to be to earn your group sales volume bonus. And your first line doesn't count until you're reaching your second line's volume bonus. But to get group sales volume bonus for your first line, you can have one person, you can have 500 people. So it doesn't matter. Let me tell you how this breaks down. I'll try to do it more smooth. Oops, already messed up. Okay, so for your first line, it's 10% again. So if you look at going back to commission, you're making 10% off their first 100 PV and then 10% off the rest of their PV. Just so you know, just so you don't get confused, just assume on your first line, as long as you're placing at least 100 PV, you're going to get 10% on all your first lines. So just ignore them, okay? To get this group sales volume bonus, you do have to place 300 PV, except for your first line. That doesn't count. Your first line, you're going to get 10%, regardless how much they order, okay? The rest, to gain this from the rest of your downline, you do have to place 300 PV. So keep that in mind. And I'm going to go through the numbers with you on these. Now, key thing to group sales volume is that 5 is the magic number, and you need 5 on that line to not only unlock the next line, but to activate that line as well. So if you had 5 distributors on your first line that ordered at least 300 PV, that's why we call them qualified, you would unlock your second line, and you would be eligible for group sales volume bonus on your second line if you had 5 of them as well. So first you had to get 5 on your first line. That will unlock your second line. Once your second line is active, if you have 5 second liners who order 300 PV, you're going to make that bonus of 6%. This bonus is the remaining PV of what you were already paid on. So you were already paid 20% on those 5 distributors for their first 100 PV, so that's $100. You're going to be paid on their remaining PV 6%. So say a distributor orders 400 PV that month, you're going to be paid, let's do 300 PV because I have this memorized. Just kidding, going back. Say a distributor on your second line orders 300 PV, you're going to be paid 20% on this line, or on the commission, because you've placed your order, and so you're going to make $20 off their first 100, and then you're going to make 6% off the remaining PV, which you've already taken your cut for the first 100 PV. So the remaining PV you'll be paid on is 20%, not 20%, 200 PV, and you'll be paid 6% on that. And I believe that's $12. So all in all on that distributor, you make $36 for that month, because you made the 20 here and then the 12 there, so that's 36. And I think that's the right math if I've memorized it correctly, because I've calculated my checks so many times. Hopefully it is. Once you get 5 on your second line and 5 on your third line, you unlock your third line group sales volume bonus, and that's 4%. Your fourth line is 3%, and your fifth line is 2%. And you have to unlock each one. So to get your fourth line group sales volume bonus, you would need 5 on all 4 of these lines. Now say you had 5 on your fifth line, 5 on your third line, 5 on your second line, 5 on your first line, but you didn't have 5 on your fourth line because maybe someone dropped out, or for some reason you didn't have that person, you're not going to get group sales volume bonus on this fifth line, because the fourth line has to unlock it for you. So just so you know, that is how it works. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them. Again, remember your first line, you're always going to make 10% no matter what. You're always going to make this commission. I'm not redoing this video. Sometimes the tape will fail you. Don't worry. We still got it. Good. Okay, we're still good to go. Woo. Okay, so what I was saying is, I forgot. You're always going to make 10% on your first line no matter what, as long as you're placing 100 PV. You're always going to get this commission from all your lines, the commission off their first 100 PV, as long as you're placing 100 PV. Your first line, you're still going to make this 10% no matter how many numbers of first liners you have. So it doesn't matter. Across the board, you're going to make 10% on your first line as long as you place that 100 PV order. For the rest of this group sales volume, it really adds up in the end, because if you think about it, as your team is growing, you're going to have a ton of team members down here, because it typically builds wider and wider as you go. And so the people who are making the most money in this company are making more in their fourth and fifth lines than their first, second, and third lines combined. It grows so wide that it really adds up super fast. So I'm going to do I think this is what I was saying. a separate video about compression, but I'll hurry and touch on it. If you have a first liner who, well, let's say, it doesn't matter. Say you have a second liner who drops out, but she has recruits. Instead of leaving a hole in the pyramid and someone not being paid that 6% or that 20%, they're going to compress up and you will be paid as if they're a second line. However, compression doesn't work for ranking or for giving you that bonus. So say you had 4 people on your second line and you had someone who was going to compress up that month because their upline had quit. That doesn't mean you're going to get the bonus, because that person can't help you get the bonus. They will pay you as it's one, but it's not going to actually bonus you, if that makes sense. And I'm going to do a whole separate video on that to go into detail. But just so you're aware, I have some notes here. Just so you're aware, it only takes 5 people to really build this business big. And of course, yes, you're going to want to recruit more than that, because not everyone is always going to recruit 5 people. That would be impossible that everyone who ever signed up does that. But just a little, I guess, example. If you had 5 on your first line and all your 5 girls on your first line recruited 5 people, and then all those girls on your third line recruited 5 people, it would give you 5 on your first line, 25 on your second line, 125 on your third line, 625 on your fourth line, and 3,125 on your fifth line. And you would be making $40,400 a month. So that kind of just shows you how crazy and awesome the comp plan can be. If you build wide, you will have girls that recruit. It takes one person to change your business. I don't know if you've heard of, there is this crown princess who she had recruited someone who became a crown princess before she did, and that one person basically built her whole team. So it really is only one person you need to really start earning you some residual income. But of course, the more the merrier, the bigger your checks. She had to fight for those 5 on her first line after her downline became a crown princess, and it took her some time. But when that happened, her GSV bonus started working and she was making a crazy amount of money. So that's just my training on commission. I hope that helps you all. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks. Bye.